I spent the last 3 or 4 days thinking carefully about what I was going to make this next video about, because I truly believe we're at a turning point in this country. Many people come to my channel and say, Florida Maquis, why can't you be at least a little bit patriotic? I mean, we have a very high standard of living. If you don't like it so much, why don't you go live someplace else? All of these logical fallacies. I put on the uniform. I served my country, and there was a time when I was very proud of her, but recently, lately, it's very, very difficult to find any truth in that. And that should be the fundamental basis of any patriotic statement that you make, that it is based and grounded in truth. The leader of our country has come out and said, you can't have guns at protests. You just can't have them. I mean, I guess the idea of you carrying them there is in some states, half the states okay, half the states it's not. There are laws against it. But the president of the United States, so you just can't use them. Folks, the people that founded this country created the idea of protests. And their protests came with demand backed up by weapons. Frederick Douglass, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, it never will. You see, this comes down to the idea of governance of the people or governance of kings and queens. Kings and queens would have said the same thing and made the same argument that Donald Trump just made. To have a civilized nation, for a nation with borders, we have to have rules. And I've even heard this from now these so-called Second Amendment absolutists that are now conceding, well, yes, the government has to give you a permit, and you also have to have your ID if you're going to have your weapon on you, even though it literally says in the Constitution, rights granted by God, inalienable. First and Second Amendment being, say what you want without any government interference, and number two, being able to keep and bear arms to back that up. You see, kings and queens had a problem with that, and so did the people of America have a problem with them having a problem with that. Real quick, before I lose track, God bless everyone who's joined us at the Patreon channel. Very much appreciate you guys being there. We're going to have some new content up next few days. Over there, we delete the emotion. This is the basis of learning PSYOPs. If you want to be a victim of PSYOPs, keep floundering around in your emotions. And those of you down there already typing in the comment section, just keep typing. But if you want to learn how to break away from the emotional waves back and forth and see what's happening, join us over there. 4 levels, whatever God puts on your heart. Fully refundable, by the way. Fully and completely refundable. First 90 days, no questions asked. But let's get back to it. See, the people of this country had a problem with the idea of one group of people saying that, well, we are anointed by God to govern. It's just that simple. And we got into a shooting war over it. Now, the shooting war that we got into was between civilized people. See, this group of civilized people here thought that this other group of civilized people over here, well, they were just getting a little bit too big in the britches, so to speak. Their heads were getting too big. You see, the idea was right that at one time kings and queens had. They said, look, you just can't give power to every person out there in the world. You can't have this ragtag groups of governance here and there, and fiefdoms over here and fiefdoms over there, and all this. You have to have somebody in charge. Because there were, you had duchies, and you had earls that were in charge of things, and lords that were in charge of different lands, but there had to be somebody who was the chief. Somebody that you could not go over their head. And they said, this is how we keep civilization going. This is how we keep the heathens out. Pay attention there. This is how we keep the heathens out. Because when we let go of this idea that there are necessary rules, necessary divisions in society, then we're just going to completely fall back into anarchy of the Dark Ages. And they were right, because that's what's going on now. You see, it wasn't the idea. This is the biggest lie being told, and believe me, it has to do with your gun rights. I know people are like, Flora, what does that have to do with my gun rights? Because that's what the title said. Oh, this is how it starts. You see, the colonists didn't have a problem with the concept of a king. They just didn't like King George III specifically, and that's why they decided, you know what, we need to govern ourselves. They weren't revolutionizing against the concept of kings around the world. That's not what the revolution was about. You see, they had rights as British citizens. See, newsflash, everybody in America, there were kings of England, of France, of Spain, of Italy, of Denmark, of all these places, and their citizens were proud to be citizens of those nations. They were incredibly proud to be British citizens, proud to be Italian citizens, proud to be Spanish citizens. That's not an American thing. In fact, the Spanish, they were by far at that time the most powerful, kingdom that existed. They had so much money, so much power, that when they found out about the New World, the reason the Spanish even came to the New World was because they had read in the Bible that Christ couldn't return until the entire world had heard the word of God. Well, now, here's this brand new half of the planet, that is full of people that have never heard the word of God. That's why the Spanish, came to the New World, beating the English here by quite a ways. But let's fast forward. That uncivilized heathen nations should first be civilized and then Christianized is a sentiment of the past. Now it's coming more and more to be acknowledged that the Bible is the great civilizer of the nations. Let me ask you a question, now that we're 8 minutes in. Is the Bible the leading guide America has gone in the last 50 years? No. Especially those without you, Gen X, boomers. It's literally gone the opposite direction. Directly the opposite direction. Now, patriotism and wealth are all tied together. Hey, Florida Marquis, we're the richest nation on the planet. We got an unending credit card of $38 trillion, so we can buy as many tanks as we want, as many planes as we want, as many boats as we want, as many rounds of ammunition as we want. We can decide which elections we agree with and don't. We can go kidnap people out of foreign countries that we don't like, and we can take their countries over, and it's all moral because America is doing it. That's not how moral works. That's not how moral works. And there used to be people that were willing to pick up a gun and do something about it. And now that somebody tried this in Minnesota and got gunned down by government thugs, twice, both a man and a woman, U.S. citizens, in Minnesota, everybody's now applauding. All those Second Amendment types, they're all applauding, saying, yay, look what Donald Trump's Homeland Security ICE did. They're gunning down U.S. citizens. You don't even have to like them. In fact, I would make the leap that the vast majority of modern day Trump supporters wouldn't like the founding fathers. Because amongst them, you would have a great many drug users, which was common at that time. You would have, by our definition, a great many pedophiles. They had a very different definition of what a man and a woman was. They let God sort that out. But you see, a day is coming This $38 trillion credit card ain't going to last forever. And when the U.S. can no longer claim, because we're so rich and wealthy, that we're right, then what? You see, I've talked about before, and many people have scratched their heads, that half of women 18 to 24, half of them in this country are engaged in some form of prostitution to pay bills. And people ignore it. And people think I have some kind of smarmy reason for reporting it. It's far worse than any other country, the Roman Empire, the English Empire, the British Empire, I guess I should say. Nobody wants to see it. Ladies, gentlemen out there who've been married, young people, try to sit down and make a budget. Have you tried to sit down and make a budget and realize, holy crap, with what we have left over, we'll never own a home. I mean, forget vacations, forget a fun money spend budget. Even if you saved all that. And what has the president recently said? Go look this one up. I didn't bring up a quote, but go ahead and look this up. He has no interest in bringing the prices of houses down because he wants to maintain the wealth of the wealth. He's literally said it. The people who own their homes now, and the wealth of the value of their homes has gone up and up and up and up and up. He's going to do everything he can to make sure that stays that way. I thought we were a country that was more interested in taking care of the young people. Oh, I forgot. I'm going to let this just sit there and soak for a while. Because a lot of ladies don't want to say the quiet part out loud. You see, they want to have an alpha male on the speed dial, so to speak. But the guy they want to live with, the guy that they want to pay the bills with, the guys that they want to go through life with, the good financial decision, the middle managers, that's who we're going to get married. They're going to get married to. Because now that's the definition of patriotism, isn't it? Money. M-O-N-E-Y. So, Patriot nurse, I know you're out there somewhere. You might as well just get ready to hand over your weapons. I mean, maybe not the ones that you just keep in the house, but don't plan on taking them out anywhere. Especially the self-defense ones, because who knows? You might end up somewhere near a protest, Patriot nurse. You've talked for years and years and years about, defending yourself, and it's great content. I'm not debating it. Awesome content. But now we're here at a point in America where you can either go protest or you can go out in a posture of self-defense. One of the two. One of the two. And believe me, when the guns go away, and they will, here come the heathens. Here come the heathens. How does this make you feel? Share it with me down in the comment section. Oh, by the way, where's the picture at? Support the Patriot nurse. She's got a Patreon channel as well. She's got her own store of all sorts of great medical supplies and all sorts of wonderful, fantastic things that you can learn from, and videos going back even farther than mine. And mine go all the way back to 2016. I can't believe it's been this long, but technically, if you count the music, my videos go back all the way to 2011. But actual talking with you guys like this, it only goes back to about 16. So anyway, I'll leave it there. I mean, where have I got this wrong? I mean, is it okay that half of women 18 to, I think it's 18 to 30 actually, are engaged in some form of softcore online prostitution to pay the bills? Half. And that's okay with you? Is that what makes America great? Would you rather we return to kings and queens? I mean, we pretty much have at this point, haven't we? I mean, when the guy who's in charge can just come out and say, well, you can't have guns at protest. If the authorities are doing what the authorities are doing, regardless of how right it may seem or wrong it may seem. You can't have guns. Protest. What about remember the tax collectors? Remember the tarring and the feathering of tax collectors? You see, our founding fathers did that. And that was their version of the IRS. So I guess here, that's my final question, really. I wonder what Donald Trump would have said to those who were tarring and feathering tax collectors. Some of them were hung. I suppose maybe if they didn't actually use a gun to do it, but I suppose you'd probably have to. You see, that's the point. The founding fathers were violent protesters. They dressed as Indians, dressed as Native Americans, whatever you want to call it, pardon the inappropriate term. They dressed as Native Americans, and they snuck on board ships, and they dumped the tea overboard. They set the ships on fire. I wonder what Fox News would report about the incivility of the government protest. See, I guess you're going to be one or the other. If you're going to be all in for Trump and all this, gun restriction, must have your ID on you, must have your carry permit, and you can't go anywhere near protest. If you're for that, fine. Just say, you know what? Our founding fathers are a bunch of dickheads. Our founding fathers were a bunch of assholes. The British were just trying to keep law and order. Law and order that believe me, the taxes at that time were way lower than they are now. Way, way, way lower. So is it okay to go pick up a gun and go have a conversation with your local IRS agent? Could you do that? Could you and 20 of your friends go armed into an IRS office and start having conversations with people about the tax rates? Could you do that? Or maybe even your local, whoever makes the rates of the taxes in your local community. I wonder how that would be handled. Is anybody getting it yet? Am I unpatriotic for pointing out this truth? Tell me if you think so. God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.